and that's super exciting. So of course we miss being in person in real life and giving high fives and hugs, but this is also a unique way to be able to see into everyone's lives a little bit. So there are some good benefits with Zoom, and you can join from anywhere. You don't have to be right in Atlanta. So I'm curious, just in the chat, go ahead and drop in where you are watching from, especially those that are outside the city or maybe even outside the state. Let us know, where are you watching from? I want to see some extremely far locations. Roswell, that's pretty far. Way to go. Pine Lake, Orlando in the house. Oh yeah. Anyone else? Anyone from farther than Norcross? Austin's, all right, Austin's here. That's awesome. I love it. South River Garden, Cumming, Georgia. That's cool. Well, for those that are in Atlanta, one quick little announcement and perk. Hopefully you already took advantage of this. If not, you still have time. But you can go and get free coffee, because what would Creative Mornings be without coffee? You can go to Chrome Yellow and you can get yourself a drink, and it's on us. You just tell them, hey, I'm with Creative Mornings, and they put it on our tab. So hopefully you get a chance to do that. And then also, you know, today is a special day because it's our 9th birthday as a chapter. Did anyone know that? Anyone remember that? That this is our 9th anniversary. Can you believe that? 9. That means we do 11 events a year, at least. So that means 99 events. That's crazy, y'all. That is a lot of events. And you know what? To celebrate, we got a balloon, and it's yellow, like Creative Mornings, you know? We got it yesterday, and it's the saddest balloon I've ever seen. Doesn't even hold up. Overnight, lost all of its air. So we wanted to be festive, and this is all we did. So you'll have to, you know, dream with us a little bit. But it's been such a privilege and honor to organize this community. And we started this chapter because we wanted to gather and inspire the creative community in the city that we love, because we think when the creative class comes together and they connect and they get inspired, that the city benefits from that. And we've really seen that over the years. We've seen businesses formed out of Creative Mornings community. We've seen friendships formed. We've seen projects started. We even saw a marriage happen, which is pretty cool. There's been a lot of good things over these 9 years, and I think it's a testament to Atlanta and all of you joining more than anything that have just embraced the idea of Creative Mornings. So I think you all should give Creative Mornings community a round of applause, which I've learned that the virtual round of applause is like the spirit fingers. Y'all remember the spirit fingers? So if you need to really yeah, you can throw them up. That's a great way to applause. Good job. Y'all just went with that. Thank you. So this is also a good chance to let you know that this is not a webinar. We are going to interact today. So those that are on the Zoom version of this call, we are going to do some breakout rooms where you'll get assigned. Hopefully they'll work. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. You'll get assigned into a breakout room with a couple of people. You'll have a minute to share each and maybe just get a chance to connect with someone that you didn't know before today. We're also going to do a quick little scavenger hunt that's going to be fun. And then at the end of my interview with Micah, you're going to get to ask a question directly. So I want to give you a little heads up and tips on how that's going to work on the Zoom end. So hopefully most people are Zoom pros at this point, but if you're not, I want to give you a couple pro tips. So when we get to the Q&A, if you click on participants at the bottom of your Zoom screen, that'll open the white participants panel. Now, on the bottom right there, you should see a raise hand gray button, or right next to your name, you'll see a little blue hand. And so I want to do a little test run, and everyone click that raise hand button, and let's see who all can do it. Okay, Chelsea, Ann, Catherine, oh yeah, there we go. Everyone's clicking. Perfect. Okay, so this is how we're going to ask a question at the end, and if we call on you, we are going to unmute your mic, and you'll get to ask your question directly to Micah. So we're trusting you all not to go crazy on us when you've got the mic. We think this is a safe place, and you can do it. Also, a few other Zoom pro tips. You can change your name on Zoom. So if you go back over to that participants list, hover over your name, click the More drop-down button, and rename. You can rename your username. And this is a fun way to perhaps add your social media of choice handle in there so people can follow up, maybe connect with you after today. So be sure to do that. Also, you want to make sure you think about what view you are in. So right now, you might be in speaker view and you see my big mug on the screen. But if you want to click gallery view in the top right, you can see all of the lovely people that are logged in. You can go 4 pages deep and scroll and see everyone there. So again, we want to see everyone's backgrounds and cameras on. The Zoom experience is going to be way better if you turn on your camera. So we encourage you to do that. Okay, so next up, we're going to kick off today's event in a really special way. For those that have been around in the Creative Mornings Atlanta community for several years, you probably recall our Creative Mornings manifesto that we have. It's a little bit like our organization's Pledge of Allegiance kind of a thing. And so we're going to read that this morning, and we have a special guest who's going to read it. She's on our volunteer team. She leads our field trips. You've probably interacted with her or seen her at events before, Julia Levy. And let me give you a few tips or a few fun facts about her to introduce her. She gave a TED Talk at Emory. It was all about falling in love with side projects, and she's got a lot of side projects. She grew up in Atlanta, interned at CNN in high school. She once won a scholarship for a year's worth of free food at McDonald's. We'll have to ask her what was her go-to choice each day. She hosts a cultural cooking class with her mom called Traditional Kitchens, and she hosts a podcast called Peach and Prosperity that she co-hosts with her dad, which is pretty cool. They actually had Micah on an episode. So let me turn it over to Julia Levy to read our Creative Mornings manifesto.
Thanks, Blake. And I ate a lot of French fries that year. Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections, in learning from others, in hugs and high fives. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome.
Thank you, Julia. Oh, it was so cool to hear that read. I mean, I especially felt like we believe in giving a damn. Yes, that's how we want to start off our day morning life. So everyone is welcome always at Creative Mornings in general, but in particular here at Creative Mornings Atlanta. And this month we are talking about the theme spectrum, which is pretty cool because spectrum can be a lot of things. It can be science, it can be music, it can be biology and emotion. There can be spectrum of color, of sound, of identity, of a style, of food, of music, of our tastes in certain things, of our experiences in life. When we bring the full spectrum of who we are, we hope that we also welcome the full spectrum of everyone else, right? So we're going to be exploring that more today, which is going to be pretty cool. Speaking of exploring, we want to also have a bit of a get to know you moment. We know that we're missing our time that we would normally be in line with each other right now, like getting our coffee and our donuts or whatever we would have at Creative Mornings. So since we don't have that time where we could like awkwardly chit chat with each other, we're gonna do a little mini scavenger hunt. So here's the deal, okay? You have to think of something that is in a color that brings you joy. Okay, so think of a color that you love that's bringing you joy right now, okay? Then you're gonna have 30 seconds to find an item in your home that is that color. And then you're gonna bring it here to the screen and show it to all of us, okay? If you're with it, give me some thumbs up here in the screen so I can see yes, okay. So everyone ready? 3, 2, 1, 30 seconds to find your item. I know you can do it. Some of you have this item in your purse already. I see some of you are already prepared. You have yours on your desk or in the room where you are. I see that nail polish there. Yes, that's great. Oh, yes. We love, is that like a pumpkin or a squash? Yes, yes. Come on, album covers. You got 5 seconds. If you have not found your item, still got a couple of people. I just see some empty like couches and chairs. Okay, that's our time, everyone. So come on back, and let's see. This is my item because yellow is bringing me joy. This is my plant, Patti LaBelle. She's growing so well. So this is so great. You can look around and see what other people are having in their life that's bringing them joy. So thank you all for being a part of our scavenger hunt. And you should, in general, keep some items around you that are in colors that you love. So if you can't see all those people and you can just see me, you can always come back into gallery mode and see what all of us are doing as we're staring at each other. I love watching you all and what you're doing. I wish that you could make coffee for all of us. So I'll do some thank yous. Oh, I just remembered that I was supposed to get some flags for the sponsors, right? I forgot about that. So y'all pretend that we have those things and I will tell you the amazing things about our sponsors. Of course, first, we want to say thank you to MailChimp. Big thank you to MailChimp. Y'all can give your jazz fingers applause. Big thank you to MailChimp. They are the Creative Mornings official global partner for marketing. So that's awesome. And MailChimp is always creating new content that they want to give access to people like us who are creators in the world. So you definitely want to check out this new project that Hello Sunshine and MailChimp have released, and it is called Book Shook. Don't you love the title of that? So Book Shook is a series where powerful women discuss the books that move them and have changed their lives. This series is already going to be featuring Reese Witherspoon, Jamila Jamil, and Yara Shahidi. And all 3 of those episodes are already live now on MailChimp's virtual literary festival, By the Books. And any of these things that I mentioned, you can also find the links to this in the chat. We also want to say a big thank you to WordPress. WordPress is Creative Mornings' official global partner for web publishing, and also for season 3 of Own Your Content. Creative Mornings caught up with artist and educator Jen Hewitt. I've actually had a chance to see one of Jen's Creative Mornings talks, and it was fab, as well as Company of One author Paul Jarvis as part of a special field trip series. So you can check all of this out at ownyourcontent.wordpress.com. Make sure you do that. We also want to give a big thank you to Basecamp, which is Creative Mornings' official global partner for project management. So our friends at Basecamp have launched a new product, and I love the name of this. It's a project management tool called Hey. I just think that's so cool. So you can check this out and see how it can help you maybe manage some projects for your business, or any personal projects that you may have. Would be pretty cool. So make sure you check out hey.com. That's fun. Okay, now one of the things that we really love about Creative Mornings and the feedback that we get from a lot of you is that you want to have some time to connect with other people, right? That's one of the fun things about being a part of Creative Mornings. I have met a lot of cool people as a part of this community. And we want to do a little bit of that by getting a chance to have our virtual time to sort of hang out like we would do with our snacks, our breakfast, whatever we're doing. So we're going to give you a chance to say hi, but here's your question. So in like a couple of minutes, you're going to go into a breakout. It's going to be magic. Like you're going to be here, then you're going to look up, you're going to be in a little group with a few people. Okay, introverts, take a breath for me and don't leave. Okay, we can see when you leave, so don't leave. Okay, so this is the question I want you to talk about when you get into your group. If you were stranded on a deserted island and could only have the full catalog of one musician or band to listen to, who would that be? Okay, did you think of yours? Did you get it? Okay, so now we're gonna go into our virtual coffee chat. You're gonna have a few minutes to go in there and chit chat away. These are
feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day.
All right, everybody should be coming back in from your virtual coffee get to know you chat time. I hope you thought of some good music that you would listen to on a deserted island. We had an interesting talk in our group about if you have a significant other that would be with you, what you think their choice would be, and if you would immediately wish you weren't on a deserted island with them based on like the music they would choose. So make your choices wisely before you get to that deserted island, because might be some music you don't want to hear. So think about your relationship choices based upon this. That person's listening to some music that grates against your nerves, choices differently. That's all I'm saying, okay? So I hope y'all had some great conversation there. We're really excited. We're gonna have a performance that we are all gonna get to see. And this is someone that we have been wanting to welcome to the Creative Mornings stage. So I'm so happy that we're getting to experience her today. So you are about to see a traditional, I guess I should say it's an Indian classical dance from South India. And we are going to welcome Moksha Rao. And I want to tell you a little bit about what we're going to see. And then you'll get a chance to experience all of the amazing that is Moksha. But Moksha is okay, now Moksha worked with me on these pronunciations, y'all. So it's going to be a little bit of a bumpy road, but I'm going to try to make sure I do this correctly. She gave me like some coaching and everything. Okay, so Moksha is a Bharat. Okay, she coached me, y'all. Bharatanatyam. I'm sure that's not right. Moksha's going to be like, I told you, girl. Bharat. I think I had it right.
You're right, Amina. It is Bharatnatyam.
Do it.
Yes, you did.
Okay, see, Moksha, okay, this is good that we can like coach through this together. Okay, now Moksha obviously is based here in Atlanta, Georgia with us. You're going to see this dance and it's going to be amazing. Moksha learned this dance under the tutelage of Guru Raji Narayan, founder of Nritya Geethanjali Dance Academy. Yes, Moksha, come on. We're working together this morning, honey. Yes. Now, in addition to the fact that Moksha has been dancing since she was 5 years old, Moksha is also a UX designer. And I am always so jealous of creative people that have both sides of the brain, that Moksha can dance and also do UX design. Like I literally only have one side. I can't add, I don't have science, I don't do any of the rest of that. So this is very exciting. We will make sure that you have all of Moksha's socials, her website, so that you can know more about the work that she's doing. All of that will be in the chat available to you. Everyone, welcome Moksha Rao.
Thanks, Amina. Hi, everyone. Hope you enjoy my performance.
Tatatim tananada dardadim nadatani tontatani dim 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 Tatatin, tananada, dadadi, nadatani, nada tani tom tani di. tatati thana nadir nadir tani tom tani de tatati thana nadir nadir tani tom tani de tatati thana nadir நம்பினோர் கெடுவதில்லை தேசமுத்துமாரி நான்கு மறை தீர்ப்பு தேசமுத்துமாரி அம்பிகையை சரண் புகுந்தார் தேசமுத்துமாரி அதிக வரம் பெறலாம் தேசமுத்துமாரி தம் தருகிடதும் தகதருகிடதும் தருகிடதும் தித்தளாங்கு தகதும் தளாங்கு தகதும் தகதும் தித்தளாங்கு தகதும் தளாங்கு தகதும் தகதும் தித்தளாங்கு தகதும் தளாங்கு தகதும் தகதும் தத்ததி தனநாது தததீம் நாது தனி தொந்தர் தனி தீ நாது தனி தொந்தர் தனி தீ நாது தனி தொந்தர் தனி தீ தத்ததி தனநாது தததீம் நாது தனி தொந்தர் தனி தீ தத்ததி தனநாது தததீம்.
Yes, give your applause fingers for Moksha Rao this morning. Moksha, oh, wasn't that beautiful and amazing, y'all? And Moksha, whenever you come back into the room here with us, there are so many comments over here just saying how amazing you are. So thank you, Moksha, for sharing Bharat Tanatiam dance with us. Look at that, Moksha.
Thank you guys for having me. And Amina, you did it.
You done
Did
coached
it really
me,
well.
I done got my life together. Come on today. You all can check out Moksha's Instagram, and you'll see that in the chat. And if you should feel so inclined to want to support our amazing artists that we have here in Atlanta, you can also get involved in Moksha's Venmo. You can do it. You can do it, okay? Because that's a good way to support the community as well. Thank you so much, Moksha. That was amazing. Wow. We want to do a little bit more of our thank yous today, and then we got to get into our conversation. It's going to be really wonderful regarding Spectrum. We want to thank our local sponsors. Thank you, Matchstick, a brand identity house here in the Atlanta area. We want to give thanks to them. We want to thank C Spark Go. They are our social media partner. Yes, we want to thank them. Also, we have an upcoming field trip coming up. How many of you have participated in a field trip? Does anybody have any thumbs up that you've done a field trip? Awesome. So we have a field trip coming up, and because Spectrum is our theme, we also want to be able to talk about the autism spectrum as a part of this field trip, okay? So this is gonna mean you'll get a chance to partner with the Marcus Autism Center for our upcoming field trip. This is gonna be on October 6th. You'll see all this information in the chat. So you'll see the link there to get signed up. This is gonna be a great opportunity to partner with the Marcus Autism Center. That's wonderful. Next month, don't forget, we would love to see you back for our next event. Our theme is transit for October 30th, okay? So we do not have our guest confirmed yet, so our guest is in transit as well, but we want to see you there, okay? That's great. Also, next, now, this is gonna be pretty cool. We're gonna go into what would usually for us at Creative Mornings be a lecture, but this morning is actually going to be a conversation. And I heard a rumor there might be like some music performance included in it. That's exciting, right? Okay. So you're going to get a chance to hear from Micah Dalton. And if you have not heard of Micah Dalton's name, this is a name that you should know. Micah Dalton is the co-founder of ATL Collective. I might have some ATL Collective fans out in the house that have been to those events. And not only that, but Micah Dalton is the lead singer and songwriter of Dwayne Shivers. So if you don't know much about ATL Collective is a nonprofit that empowers and connects the Atlanta music community through preservation, building relationships, and education. If any of you have been to these events in the before times, they are amazing, where you get a chance to hear music you're familiar with from artists that may be new to you, but artists that are doing amazing work, so you can support them. And Micah Dalton not only makes music with Dwayne Shivers, but has also had his music placed as well in TV shows and movies that you know. Micah's amazing. You're gonna get to hear him in conversation today with Blake Howard. Show yo Jazz Fingers love for Micah Dalton.
Yes, Micah, we're so glad to have you, man. We're excited to just to hear more about your background, your story, and your music, and learn a little bit about Spectrum from you. I'd like to start with the background piece. Give us the backstory, man. How did you get into music to begin with?
Yeah, well, thank you for this is just obviously such a welcoming community, and I'm glad to share my little story and the ATL Collective's little story here. But I grew up in the Atlanta area, kind of hopped around in Decatur, Grant Park, and then spent high school out in Cobb County. But really what brought me to music was my parents. They listened to literally a wide spectrum of music. But the way in which they listened to it was what ended up kind of sticking to me. They kind of saw music as really a cultural good, a way that one of the rare spaces where people could actually find common ground. So I'm biracial. My father's African American. My mom is white. So they listened to all types of music, but soul music was kind of the one style or genre of music that everyone kind of landed on. And I kind of see soul music as like the parental genre. Like they let you know it's going to be all right. And it's like, I don't know if you know Arthur Conley's Sweet Soul Music. It's just it goes beyond critique because it's just universally you feel it. So I kind of through soul music and when my parents interacted with music, I got involved. My dad worked at SCLC on Auburn Avenue growing up. So records like What's Going On or Intervisions were very much brought to me as well. This idea that you should think about music as a social responsibility as well. So all of those are ways that I kind of came to music.
Love it. Yes. So when did you realize that you were a pretty good musician? Like, were you a little toddler strumming a guitar sometime, or did you just kind of tap and beat all the time? Did you start singing in church choir? Like, what was it that you thought, oh, hey, I'm kind of into this and I've got some talent? When did that happen?
I'm still kind of waiting for that actual moment. I'm more of a one-trick pony songwriter and that type of thing. But I think I realized I could carry my weight, like as a songwriter with some positive, stuff like positive press and encouragement from people I respected, like basically, when other bands would come to my shows or people and say, hey man, that song is really cool. And multiple people tell you that. That's kind of what drew me, going to ATL Collective. Just artist community is so essential because it can be this primary way in which you get feedback and understand how you're connecting with people. So I really realized that I feel like through community.
That's awesome, man. I love that. Was there a first big gig you had? Like was there a high school show or a basement somewhere where people showed up and it was like you got a little sweaty and you got a little nervous? Like, was there a first big gig that you remember?
Yeah, it was an open mic in a strip mall in West Cobb County at a coffee shop now defunct called Caffinia. And I freaked out I think we played on Wednesday nights. My band, my little folk rock band, we played a couple songs every other week or whatever. And I remember that was the first time where I thought, this is kind of ridiculous that I feel this much weight around this moment, and there's like 5 people here, and I'm taking this extremely seriously. But like later on, my first big gig I took that really made, I would say, an impact on me was I played at a festival in Birmingham called City Stages, and we were on the same stage as an artist named Andrew Bird. It's not like we even we were kind of in a songwriter in the round tour. So our kind of camp of songwriters opened up or played before him. And, just seeing the way people just interacted with an artist of that scale, that was like an artist with that kind of like a rite of passage. But it felt like an honor to be able to get paid to do something like that, to be able to bring that to people in that way.
That's awesome. I love it. That's good background. Let's jump to ATL Collective, because one of the reasons we wanted you to speak today on Spectrum was the wide range of music the ATL Collective presents to the Atlanta community. And we love that. We think that's super special. Tell us about your vision for ATL Collective and why did you start it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, ATL Collective is, if any of you have been to the shows, we've probably, I think, done over 75 different albums now. Our whole mantra is we hope that Atlantans discover their new favorite artists while singing their old favorite songs. And again, going back to community, I really had early on this desire to kind of have a ongoing live musical museum for Atlanta, and it's not, we have a long way to go to try to achieve that. But yes, this idea of when you go into a museum, you're able to recognize sort of how you fit, and then you're able to kind of see a mirror of the culture and to see like, hey, how do I fit into the city? And we seek to kind of model the sounds of the city in that way through kind of like an ongoing music festival. It kind of came about as a buddy of mine, David Berkeley. This is back in 2009. We were approached about doing an open mic night, and we did not want to do an open mic, but we had a bunch of friends who kind of wanted to start reimagining and reliving timeless albums. So I had a bunch of friends. I had a bunch of friends kind of in Nashville that had sort of like, they would write together, they would tour together, they would play on each other's records. But I didn't want to go to Nashville because I thought Atlanta was just more culturally robust. That's where I was from. So we kind of came up with this idea of what we called reliving albums usually every month. And what it did is it began to do what I was talking about, kind of modeling the sounds of the city. It also provided education for us as artists and kind of modeled the value of preservation around timeless albums. I don't know about y'all, but I'm one who used to get CDs for like $20 at Tower Records and like spend a ton of time in the liner notes. And then when I have vinyl over here, and I just love kind of the tactile nature of music. And in many ways that's no longer with us. So I wanted to try to figure out, hey, how can we create experiences that get into that while also letting people know how special all the artists in our ecosystem are. I think there's so much to celebrate around Atlanta music. So we just wanted to be a part of that.
Yeah. I love that you referenced Tower Records, because half of the people on this would say, oh, I miss Tower when I made decisions based on what the cover looked like, or I put on those weird old dirty headphones. Now that in the day of COVID, you're like, I can't believe everyone shared headphones at a random retail place.
Right.
And then half the people on the call are like, no, got nothing. What is that? Is that a liquor store? What is Tower?
Yeah, Tower Records was up in Buckhead, Camelot. I see someone put Camelot. Yeah, Turtle. I don't know if anyone remembers Turtle Records down next to the plaza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my first gigs was designing album covers and the liner notes, and I loved the experience of graphic design and music. And the liner notes and the way you unpackaged the music was a part of the experience, like it layered in. Now we just get a tiny little thumbnail on our Spotify playlist. So I kind of mourn that as well. You talked about community, and I just want to hear from your perspective, what is the value of community in music? Because I know that's central to ATL Collective, but what really is the value of community for you as a musician?
Yeah, I mean, I think different people would answer this different ways, but personally, I think the idea of making it in music has like one dimension or one pathway. And most people think of it as like, becoming famous or well-known at great cost, to you, or, but I think making it can look different. There's different ways in which you can make a life in music. That's the hope, at least. Because like, even if you receive accolades of some kind and you are successful in music, you have to go up and you have to come down, and community is kind of the safe place to both catalyze that and catch it. It's kind of a safe third space to do that. And without these third spaces to connect with, which oftentimes is like a music venue or a promoter or someone that really just cares about artists that create this third space, but it doesn't always have to be a venue necessarily. and it's not necessarily creating networking or business driven opportunities, but really forms for relationships to thrive. Because I think, especially when you're touring or you're coming off the road or you're just living for the purposes of this idea around spectrum, is like people have a spectrum of creativity that they inhabit in a professional context, and to have communities to kind of work out ideas, but then also to just be safe places relationally, helps bear the mental and financial weight of making the jump into a creative field, especially in music.
Yeah. I want to switch gears and talk a little bit about, us, the non-musician, but consumers of music, just those that enjoy listening to music. Sometimes we get into one genre and that's just all we listen to. We're into emo or indie or hip hop or soul music or country or whatever it is. And, part of spectrum is putting your toe in new waters and sort of expanding your horizons. What do you think about that? Like, what's the value in doing that? Why should people expand their horizons musically?
That's a great question. I mean, like, full disclosure, like, I feel like most of us, and I'm open to be put on blast here, but kind of fall in love with the records we love at a younger age. Like, for me, it was between 20 and 25. Those are, for some reason, the albums that I'm most emotionally attached to, because we mile mark, I think, songs and albums with experiences, and we only can see the world that way once. So I think there's no reason to browbeat and be, to yourself and, force yourself, I think, into something. But I like to think about active listening different than passive listening. And I think there's some value to active listening. And this is around, this idea that 93% of communication is nonverbal, so there's so much that happens within music that is not what the lyrics say or the melody. And when you understand the time and place and people who made them, it can be an enriching practice too. So to take a genre that you don't naturally go towards, and you do some reading into context, it can be really just a gratifying experience to kind of like explore that. And I think, that can be a really helpful way to see the world and really to understand spectrum, rather than to just like kind of clinically understand it from a distance, to really put yourself in someone's shoes. I would say that's the value of active listening. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense. Yeah,
totally. The context makes the experience richer. It's sort of like when you understand the scenario of the day the music died and what happened. And I forget all the details now that I'm going on the spot here, but when you understand the context of that story, it makes it, a lot more emotional, and you connect with every single lyric, and music does that. It draws out the emotions. If you're having a really tough day, or someone maybe is not feeling well, or maybe you lose a loved one, and then a song comes out about seasons changing, you're just like a wreck, it's all about the context of where your life is, right, and the emotional state that it draws out. So I think that makes a lot of sense. I want to know, with ATL Collective, you said 70 some odd shows. What's been your favorite moment? Has there been an album or a song or a moment where you were like, yes, this is what I've always wanted to do with it? Was there something that was super meaningful and significant for you?
Yeah. I talked to one of our music directors around this, Robbie Hanley, and he was just telling me what his favorite thing was about actually doing this work. And it was kind of creating these Atlanta supergroups and cross-pollinating people that would never meet to relive amazing records. So that spirit is what's going to lead to my answer. It's really hard because I in a different way, like all the shows that I'm able to most of the shows have something that are really special to me. But when we first started, there were a couple moments where we didn't know that as many people were interested in this concept of coming to hear their favorite albums relived. And there'd be times where the crowd, it was so small, we didn't have enough money for really a great sound system. So there were times where the crowd was singing louder than us. And that happened, I think, during Paul Simon's Graceland. There are also times where sort of the room and the space that we booked kind of led into conceptually what we were trying to do. One was Johnny Cash's Folsom Prison. The roof was leaking. We were like giving out refried beans on cardboard because we thought it would be funny. It violates all types of health codes, I'm sure. But more recently, we had an all-female reliving of No Doubt, Tragic Kingdom at Aisle 5. An artist named Priska helped us curate that. And then kind of like the other moments that I really like is when you have sort of a B-side that's done by an artist, and the way that artist does it kind of brings it to life in a new way. A moment for me was when a local artist named Cleveland P. Jones did Lover, You Should Have Come Over by Jeff Buckley. And then even more recently, we did a show, I think a couple years ago at the Atlanta History Center, where we did a tribute to the Muscle Shoals sound in Alabama. And we had a ton of amazing artists on the roster, but the spectrum of sound went from a local artist named Baby Rose to Lee Baines and the Glory Fires. And, just this idea that collaboration, whenever I can see we push the spectrum as far as it can go, and the collaboration somehow has a through line that makes sense and people can access, it really can be beautiful. So those are some of my favorite moments.
Yeah. And I remember last year, 2019, you were doing the A De La Soul album, and some of the musicians came and performed at Creative Mornings. I don't know if anyone remembers that, but Adon Bean was leading the charge, and it was awesome, man. It was so much fun. That was a special moment for me, for sure. I want to know, I'm gonna see if you'll play us a song here in just a minute. Before you do that, could you talk to us more about your songwriting process? Because I think it's helpful for all of us creatives, no matter what field we're in, to just understand the process of creation a little bit more, especially if you're not a musician, you're in a different type of creative field. Sometimes there's a lot of related learning. So I'd love to hear maybe a quick rundown, like how do you write a new song? Do you have 1,000 notes on your phone? Do you sit down with a blank screen and just sort of go? What's the process of creating for you?
Yeah, I've thought about this before, and it changes, but I would say I either start with a feel or a title. Oftentimes it's a title. Like my band Dwayne Shivers, we just put out a song called Are You Nice? And that came out of an experience in Brooklyn. I was going into a bodega, and some guy ran up to me really fast and said, do you play guitar? And I said, yes. And he said, Are you nice? And I thought for some reason that just tickled me in a way. So I spent about 2 years figuring out what conceptually is interesting to me about that. And what I would do then is sort of throw the concept to Anthony, the producer, and other side of Dwayne Shivers, and he kind of brought a feel into it. And then it went back to me, and I sort of filled out lyrics to kind of embody it. And then kind of there were some more musical revisions, and then kind of the last step is sort of editing the lyrics, really, to make sure that it's there's no sort of, when you listen to the song, it's seamless. But that song felt more like sculpture, where you're taking things away rather than adding in. Sometimes you feel like something is done and you spend the majority of your time actually whittling. And sometimes I've had songs that were really good, but I didn't spend enough time whittling it down. So that seems to be my personal process.
Yeah, I love that.
I would say it's normally title, attitude, melody, chords, then more lyrics. So that's my process generally.
I love it. Yeah, editing process is hard. It's easier for me to go wide, fall into love with a lot of things, but the retracting down, the narrowing, editing to get something really special, that's hard. So I'm going to ask you to play a song, if you don't mind. And this is a good moment to remind everyone to get ready for questions, because we'll move into Q&A after Micah's done performing. So again, you click on the participants button at the bottom. You'll see your names on the right, and then you can click the little blue button to raise your hand, and then we'll call on you and unmute your mic after this. So take it away, Micah.
Thanks, Blake. I don't know how Zoom sounds. I don't think that I've played through it very often, but here we go. This song is called Southern Breeze. I wrote it when I was living in New York and missed the fall in Georgia, and we're about to go into the fall. So I thought it'd be a fitting tune to play. Didn't see the leak in the main line, till my feet got cold at a painful green light. Everybody floating till the river runs dry. So I'm halfway in the water, halfway baptized. There's too many kings in the kingdom tonight. I was looking for the master of my mind. I found him baked up in a state of decline. He was halfway in the water, halfway baptized. Ooh, somebody bring me through to that southern breeze, yeah, where the city won't speak to me. One morning I'll rise with some kind of peace. It whispers like a southern breeze. Yeah. A moment I've been chasing since I was age 9. Comfort from a simple backlight. Ohio River Valley out in clear sight. Halfway in the water, but always baptized. Ooh, somebody bring me through to that southern breeze, where the city won't speak to me, no. One morning I'm gonna rise for some kind of peace that whispers like a southern breeze, that whispers like a southern breeze. And I said, city, don't speak to me, no. 'Cause one morning I'm gonna rise with some kind of peace. It whispers like southern breeze. Yes, it whispers like a southern breeze.
Yes, Micah. Woo! Man, that was so good. I'm going to be humming that all day long. I love it. I got chills multiple times. Multiple chills.
Hey, that aim to please. That
Man.
was on Dwayne Shiver's Buffered and Blessed album. We put that out about a year and a half ago.
Love it. That's great. Well, we're getting close to time, but I'd love to take a few questions. So if you've got a question, go ahead and click that raise hand button, and we're going to turn it over to you to ask your question directly to Micah. Looks like Chelsea Corbin has a question. Andrew, you want to go ahead and switch it over to her?
Hey, Micah, thanks so much for that. Today has been, for me, like Creative Mornings always feels, that in person, just special, community centric and good people, good vibes. So thank you. early on, you talked about music as a social responsibility, and I'm curious if you'll talk more about that and how you balance kind of that responsibility with your own personal need to create and communicate and express, and then how you also kind of model that as a community leader.
Yeah, that's a great question, Chelsea. I mean, I kind of, the first thing I try to do is sort of look, you know, in my purview, the people that I see a lot, I know a lot. I look at like the people that listen to my music, and try to create touch points for like dialogue first before even necessarily writing towards it as a social responsibility within my music. I think that informs it and helps me to actually name the way art can be a counterpoint towards injustice. So I try to do my homework in that way, and that's the way in which I think about responsibility first as an artist. As a community leader, with ATL Collective, we do our best to try to figure out, like I said before, how to model the sounds of the city. And if you've been to one of our events, we try to get as many people on stage oftentimes as possible. And many of the artists have an opportunity to kind of speak to the songs that they're performing, what that illuminated within them. And sort of that's the primary way in which ATL Collective kind of functions in that space. And then we have albums, like we did an IGTV album of What's Going On this past summer. And we commissioned Adon Bean, who's been on this program, to do a piece called Face the Music right after George Floyd. And so it feels like it comes from an intuitive place oftentimes, but those are some ways in which I think about it.
Love it. Great. All right. Looks like Vanessa A has a question. So let's go over to Vanessa.
Hi, thank you so much for your performance. That was really, really great. I very much enjoyed it. I know that now in this digital era, a lot of musicians are playing around with innovative technologies. Someone that comes to mind is Imogen Heap trying out these music gloves where the music will sense her motion, and that's really how the music is created, and then she'll play off of that with her lyrics. Has ATL Collective considered playing with innovative technologies like that to increase the power and maybe message of the music?
That's a great question, Vanessa. And I mean, those types of innovations are really exciting. We haven't been approached with certain technologies or, you know, things like that interface like seamlessly with our current programming. But if we were, and someone was kind of met us halfway and was like, look, we're passionate about what you all are doing musically in the community, I think all our folks would be really excited about figuring out how to do it, because I do think part of the spirit of ATL Collective is creating immersive experiences. So that even if you're not primarily a musical person, you can come into a space and get that value of understanding context, how the music was made, the people behind it. And I think that's multidisciplinary. We've had wins there, but it's not like something that has become commonplace. But definitely, if you know some people, reach out, because that sounds like a great idea.
All right, let's go over to Michelle Hiskey. See her question.
Hi, Micah. My question is kind of a little bit random, but it's about your name. I've been thinking a lot about this biblical verse, Micah 6:8, and it has a lot to do with what you're talking about, actually. And I wondered if you knew about that and like what the story of your name was, because it seems like your identity is, for those who don't know the verse, it's about to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly. And that's the main thing we're supposed to do in this world.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. That's another good observation and question. I haven't talked at length with my parents about that, but both of them are. My dad is a minister, community activist, now is doing reconciliation work outside of St. Louis between police force, community members, and clergy. So he's always been on the front lines of that work. So I'd imagine both he and my mom had that in the forefront of their mind when giving me that name. And I'm aware of the Hebrew meaning and what it means. And I didn't think about that. So Michelle, I'm actually going to take that and give it some more thought, but that's a cool observation.
All right, let's do the last question here. Let's go over to Heather Statham.
Hey, Micah, thank you so much. Appreciate it. You've got a great voice, great soul, great just energy and spirit. So thanks for sharing. How are you guys pivoting during COVID? and the fact that ATL Collective is an immersive experience. I'm a musician, singer myself. And so as we've been fortunate to play outdoor gigs, and that's sort of where we're staying. But as the weather gets, obviously we have all these new things to navigate. What is next for Atlanta Collective? Because immersive right now is not going to be.
That's right.
Right now. So
right.
Interested to see what you guys are going to do.
Yeah, well, right now, with our board, we've kind of decided to focus on a monthly program we called Hump Day Hang, which is a virtual professional development opportunity for artists. So we've done everything this year from digital resource night, where we have legal, accounting, marketing, everybody kind of weighing in on how to help individual pieces of the music ecosystem thrive and pivot. And then we've done, this week, we actually did a music director symposium. So we're trying to use it to really invest back to help individual members of our community learn how to pivot in the moment. But I don't know when the actual, I think there's a huge question mark around live music and when it comes back. Definitely check out the Save Our Stages Act if you guys haven't already. Like live music, especially small venues, are in a tough spot. To answer your question, we're doing our best right now to kind of create stopgaps and invest in the careers of the folks that are in our community, because the live music thing is a pretty big question mark.
Awesome. Thanks, Micah. Great questions, y'all. Thanks for exploring this Zoom setup with us. Now we want to outro and wrap doing something a little bit different, kind of fun. So first, I just want to say thanks again to Moksha for her performance. Thank you, Micah, for playing and for sharing with us. We're going to do a new thing that is a little bit of a dance party exit. So now's a good time to put it in gallery mode up top. And Andrew, if you can, go